Alarms.
I slammed my fist down. The sound of the alarm has always infuriated me. It's always loud, it's always abrasive, and it always wakes you up before you're ready to be up. I think the creator of the morning alarm was a sadistic bastard. I nearly broke the damn thing this time. I threw my feet over the side of the bed and reached back to lay a loving hand on Katrina's shoulder. I did this every morning before getting ready for work. I liked to touch her, to feel her presence. But she wasn't there. Through blurry eyes, I looked around the room, but she was nowhere to be seen. Must be in the bathroom, I thought, and began my morning ritual. I walked out of the bedroom, still in my boxers, and took a left. I stopped in the kitchen, poured a glass of orange juice, and began to make some toast. "Hun, would you like anything while I'm up?" I hollered over my shoulder. There wasn't an answer. I frowned, but not wanting to interrupt her, I finished making my breakfast and had a seat at the dining room table. The crunching of toast and gulping of orange juice was loud in my ears. I reached for the controller for the stereo, but didn't find it in its usual spot on the table. "Katrina, do you know where the controller to the Bose is?" I asked. I stared at the closed bathroom door, waiting for an answer. None came. I got up and walked over to the door. "Hun?" I knocked as I spoke, but again there was no answer. I turned the handle and found it unlocked. I opened the door and looked inside, my heart beating harder. I don't know what I expected to find, but I had the same anxiety throbbing in my chest that I used to get just before being discovered in a game of hide and seek. My stomach twisted, then dropped. The room was empty. Her makeup and brushes were out. The curling iron was even still plugged in, starting to melt into the handle of her hairbrush. This wasn't like her. She's the type of person who always cleaned as she went. She keeps a chore chart for herself, for Christ's sake. I unplugged the curling iron and turned back to the kitchen. "Katrina?" I called into the suddenly eerie silence. Nothing. I made my way into the living room and grabbed my phone off the charger. I called Katrina's phone and heard her ringtone from the other room. I spotted the phone on the bookshelf in the office. Again, this was out of character for Katrina. Phone left in a random shelf, her stuff strewn about the bathroom. If it were me, that would have been normal, but not Katrina. I went to the back door and found her purse and keys there. I spotted the car in the driveway through the window. I went to open the door and found the deadbolt locked. It didn't make any sense. I hurried to the bedroom and grabbed my pants off the hamper. My keys were in the pocket where I always left them. I checked the front door and found its deadbolt to be locked as well. Unsettled, I rushed from room to room, each as empty as the last. Finally, I came to the basement door and saw the chain undone, swinging gently. I stood staring at it for a moment in the silence. I took a breath and yelled again for Katrina, but was answered only with the oppressive quiet. I hated going down there, and I knew for a fact she did as well. Steeling myself, I turned the knob and pushed open the basement door. The stairs descended into blackness, and a childlike fear welled up inside me. I reached into the darkness, running my hand over the rough wooden wall until I found the light switch. I flipped it on, but nothing happened. "Katrina!" I shouted into the darkness, trying to keep my voice from quivering. There was no response, but I thought I could hear movement in the musty stone belly of the house. "Katrina, this isn't funny," I said. This time I could definitely hear something. Footsteps. The sound of heeled shoes or boots walking down a long hall. But there was something wrong about it. It seemed to be more in front of me, coming towards me than down the stairs. I strained my eyes, looking into the inky blackness. I took a few hurried steps back. The footsteps stopped just beyond the doorway, and I waited for something to come into the light of the kitchen. My heart hurt from pounding, but I could do nothing but wait, expecting that any second something would burst out of the basement door at me. I was frozen, just waiting for it to happen. That's when I felt it. Hot breath on the back of my neck. I turned slowly to look. Katrina stood there staring at me, through me. She opened her mouth unnaturally wide, jaw unhinging, and let loose a blaring electronic scream, and then another, and another. I slammed my fist down. The sound of the alarm has always infuriated me. I reached back to lay a loving hand on Katrina's shoulder. The bed was empty.
This has been Alarms, a Fleeting Word story. If you have an original short story you would like us to consider reading, please email it to thefleetingword@gmail.com.